Can you tell me a little bit about your early days and the mindset that you had back in the beginning of hip hop?
My early days, again, so you gotta think hip hop was born 1973. I'm 8 years old. I was 8 years old when hip hop was born, right? An 8-year-old kid in this new genre of music that is specifically for me.
How did you hear it first? What was the first kind of music that was in your house?
It was more cassette tapes.
Oh.
That was the thing that it was literally, it was like, this is for me. So that was my first rap record that I'm saying that connected with me. I'm sure.
Now, wait a second. In the 70s, though, it was also the era of disco.
Yes.
Did you have disco in your house?
I was a disco head. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So like on radio, I'm saying again, it was all disco. It was all disco.
Yeah.
All disco and funk. It was all that. But then I'm saying whether I would go out to a block party. That's pretty much where you would hear it. At a block party, right? Block party, a house party, you would hear Rapper's Delight.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. But my mother and father wasn't playing no hip hop at that stage. Just I'm saying they was playing the music that they loved in their era. So for me, when I heard that, it was an awakening. It was like giving me oxygen and giving me light.
What was your upbringing like? Because you're saying that you were bouncing around from all these different places.
Yeah.
What was it like? Because I know that you and I have personal conversations.
Yeah.
And me and your background are similar. Where you had opportunities where you could have gotten in trouble.
Yeah.
You ended up, sliding around all that stuff. And you ended up moving out of that. So what happened?
So when my mother and father broke up, I was around 10 years old. So that had to have been 75, 10 years old. Mother and father broke up. We was living in Southwest Philly. My mom got an apartment and we moved literally 2 blocks away from my father on 58th and Chester Avenue.
Wow.
And it went bad real quick. It went bad real quick in terms of the level of life that I was used to living in a home, which is crazy now that I think about it. When I think about it, look, it felt like a mansion, but it really wasn't. I'm saying it felt like it. The house might have been 1,100 square feet, 1,200 square feet. It was 4 bedrooms. But coming from South Philly, moving into this house, it literally felt like George and Wheezy moving on up. It really felt like that, right? It was like, I call it the Shining hallway. Remember the movie The Shining?
Yeah.
It literally, that hallway was so long. And at 10 years old, I guess it did feel that way. You know what I mean? It was a 4-bedroom house. So we lived in that. Then my mother and father broke up. My mother left. My mother left. She got an apartment. Like I said, it probably was probably if my father's house was 1,200 square feet, this might have been 500 square feet, maybe something like that. It was a little apartment with 4 kids and a mother. So we had 2-bedroom apartment that me and my 2 brothers had to stay in. My sister took the other room and my mother had to sleep on the couch bed in the living room. So that was our life right there, right? I'm talking, it got so bad where, I don't know if you ever had this time, where we had to use milk crates as dressers. I put my socks in one. I put my underwear in another. I put my clothes in one. And then, in order enough to make our bed go up higher, I would put like 8 milk crates. 4 and 4. So however high I wanted it, I put another level of milk crates to make it go up higher. So when I first started, it was pretty low, and then I put on 2 milk crates, so that gave me a little bit more altitude.
Now, how old were you when you had your growth spurt? Like, how?
So it had to have been between, like, I would say 13 and 15, because at 15, I know clearly I was 6'7". Clearly I was 6'7". At 15, I was 6'7".
And what about sports? Did you?
Sports, I played basketball. I played everything. In the inner city, you played everything, but my number one was basketball. Basketball and boxing. My father trained boxers, so basketball and boxing was pretty much my world. But my only love really was basketball. Although I used to hang out back in 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, I used to hang down the Veterans Stadium and down the Spectrum with the Sixers and the Eagles. So this ain't new for me. So Will Montgomery was like a godfather to me, like literally. Wow. Yes. The difference is what I'm doing now. I used to go out to the practices and I would hang out there for the whole practice until they came out at night. So
they just let you hang out?
Well, back in the day, it wasn't so secure. Like at the Veterans Stadium, it was like parking at a parking lot, right? It was like parking at a parking lot. The Sixers as well. So you literally could walk up to their cars. Like the Sixers used to park, so there used to be a ramp at the Spectrum, and they had to walk out the building, walk up the ramp to go to the parking lot to their cars. So I would go down there from like probably around 3:00. They would come out like they would practice from like say like the Sixers would practice from like say like 1:00 to about 4 or 5 o'clock, right? And they would come out. I would walk them to their cars, carry their bag, walk them to their cars. I would run over to the Veterans Stadium, and then the Eagles would practice from like say like 3 to like 6. And this was during daylight saving time. Of course, we played during the winter months. So I would still be down there by the time it was dark. And when they come outside, Will Montgomery, Howard Carmichael, all of them would see me in the parking lot. Ask me, can I carry the bags to their car? And they used to let me do it. So I did that every day for probably about a good 2-3 years when I think about it. Right? Wow. Such that I was, again, Andrew Toney came to my basketball games. Will Montgomery used to take me back and forth home. So they wouldn't let me just get on the bus. They would take me home. So imagine as a 13, 14, 15, and you got Will Montgomery, the Saquon Barkley of that time, would take me home. It was crazy. Andrew Toney would come to my basketball games. It was retarded, like totally retarded.
One of the things that I love about your story, one of the things that I'm picking up on right now, you've been networking since you was 13, 14 years old. And that's
no, before that. When I was 11 years old. My first job, I was 11 years old. I had 3 jobs at 11.
Yeah, the way that you network and the way that you built your foundation of friends is totally amazing to watch. So
yeah, I didn't realize, I did it naturally, but I didn't realize your net worth is your net worth.
For sure.
Okay? So I always had great people skills. Always.
Well, but when you talk to kids, because you have your foundation, you've done so much work in the neighborhoods, when you talk to kids who want to be like you and network, what are some pieces of advice that you give them about how to approach people or how to start developing your network?
Well, first and foremost, you got to be respectful, right? Unfortunately, a lot of kids today, that's like a lost thing, to be respectful towards elders. You know what I mean? And for me, I always, even still today at 59 years old, I'm extremely respectful. First, that's a cement, right? So be present, but don't be in the way. Remember I told you, I'm saying I would be standing off to the side. I wouldn't be like overbearing, right? So I let it be where they consistently seeing me for probably about 4 or 5 months. Just speaking and kind of just walking at a distance, not invading their space, right? Be present, but don't be in the way.
Well, let me ask you Let me ask you this. How did you end up getting connected to Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince?
So me and Jeff went to school together.
Okay.
Me and Jeff went to Bartram together. So Jeff's 60 now. So Jeff's birthday in January. Jeff is roughly 11 months older than me. But we went to Bartram High School together. And so what happened was I was a promoter first. I promoted shows. And Jeff and Will Jeff in particular would see me doing these shows. My first concert was 1984, 85. My first concert was Parliament Funkadelics, Dougie Fresh, and Roxanne Shante. But Jeff in particular would see me with these artists and thought I was doing security. But I wasn't. I was hustling. I was hustling. So if I was hustling, I didn't feel like I needed security. So when I would book a show, Jeff didn't know I was a promoter. I felt like I can dual task. I don't need security. You can be with me. So he used to see me with all these, these top level acts. And then when at 86, 87, when he released Girls Who Wasn't in Trouble, he came to me and asked me would I work with them. And I was like, what? I had got locked up twice. Never went to jail, but got locked up twice. I had they were trying to give me a third case. This was 1987. And so I had got 2 arrests. And I was sitting and waiting to go to court. And Jeff came. I did an event called the Charlie Mack First Annual Hustler Convention. I had Biz Markie, I had Stetsasonic, and I had MC Breeze, Malika Love, and Robbie B and DJ Jazz from South Philly perform. And so Jeff came to the party. He was like, if you mind, I could talk to you. Like, what's up? He's like, I got this record out. Would you mind working with us? Work with you? I'm puzzled. I'm like, work with you? He's like, you do security, right? But I remember I told you I got locked up twice. So for me, it was, the reason why I hustled was to end poverty in my life. And I wanted to be in the entertainment business. I'm saying basketball wasn't realized because I wasn't going to school as much as something because I was hustling. I was working working more than I was in school. I was working 10 times harder outside of that to try to end the poverty situation that my reality was in. So from doing that, when he said that to me, it just hit me. Something just said, yeah. He was like, all right, well, and I want to bring you around. You know what I'm saying? We got a show. We're going on the road next week. Would you come? You know what I'm saying? So I had to call my lawyer and ask him, could I move out? You know what I mean? The first tour they had did was Two Live Crew, Whistle, Public Enemy, and Jazzo. And Jazzo had a young guy that y'all know now today was his protege, which was Jay-Z.
Jay-Z.
He was only 16 years old.
Wow.
Right? So from that, during that point, I was able to beat the case that I had, and I went and got a passport. The first time I got on the plane, I went to London for 30 days with Jeff and Will do He's a DJ, I'm the Rapper, which, produced Girls Parents Don't Understand. And it also was their first Grammy nomination.
So what was it like? Because I read in Will's book about that London trip.
Yes.
What was the scene like to have these young rappers with a really American music form come to London at that time? Because London had a very different music scene, I think, at that time.
Well, you know what was again, it was disco. It was disco, right? It was disco, and hip hop was really coming in the fold, but it really was disco. You know what I mean? At that point, you think about all those artists that came from over there, Simply Red, Wham, Culture Club. They give credit, just I'm saying, to all the these R&B artists. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They give credit to them. You know what I mean? Aretha Franklin, James Brown, like they looked up to them. All of them would tell you.
So was it like a warm reception when you all got to London?
Anything internationally was always a billion times more receptive and more warm and appreciative. Like in Tokyo, when we went to Tokyo, they didn't speak a bit of English, but they knew every single word of the song.
Wow.
Every single word. And they b-boys to another level. Like they don't b-boy, they b-boy on extreme.
Yeah. But let me ask you this, Charlie. What was it like the first time that you heard that first Out the Limo? Was you actually in the studio with him when he made it? Or did you hear it after he created it? What was it like for you?
So when Will first got his money, his first big check, he bought a lot of equipment, right? And he wanted to take it, kind of jump into producing. So one of the first things he did was Charlie Mack First Out the Limo song. But the one y'all hear ain't the one that it was.
Okay.
Jeff eventually did that record.
Okay.
And yes, I was there, and that was a part of the London trip. So Will's version was Charlie Mack, cha-cha, Charlie Mack, cha-cha, Charlie Mack is the first out the limo, cha-cha, Charlie. And it was like, Jeff was like, when we got over there, Jeff was like, I got you. And so he went and did it. And I appreciate Will for wanting to do that. Yes, I'm saying. But Breeze is the first person to put me on record. MC Breeze.
Okay, I remember.
Yeah, with Yo Lady Who. First out the limo was Charlie Mack.
He had that
discombobulated boom. Yeah, but the first record was Yo Lady Who. First out the limo was Charlie Mack. That's where the whole coin phrase came from. But first out the limo.
Oh.
Well, I appreciate you saying bringing some music to this show because Daryl will not rap anymore.
Oh, he got bars.
I've never heard him do it ever.
You know why? Let me tell you why. Because when you're doing something, you gotta be laser. Like you're not gonna see me play basketball, although I love it.
Right.
That's not feeding myself. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that was, it was. Hence, it was. It's not right now. It's not the thing. I'm saying again. I don't think you ever lose love for the thing, but it's not the thing that's going to take care of take care of the bills. He got concentrated, laser tag, focus on the thing that's going to affect his bottom line.
Right.
So I understand that and respect that.
Well, let me tell you this. I remember my dad just got me some turntables, right? And that He's the Rapper, I'm the DJ, or no, I'm the Rapper, He's the DJ was my first album that I got. And when I first heard that song, First Out the Limo, I'm like, well, who's Charlie Mack? And I kept trying to figure out who it was. And then as time progressed, I started to hear Lady B always shouting you out all the time. And you just became this big figure that I never saw before. You know what I mean?
Right.
So for me, I always knew who you were. And you definitely became a legend. And
you knew the name.
Yeah. You knew the name.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, you
know what I mean? And I lived out in the suburbs. So it was like,
oh, wow.
I wasn't in the city for me to be able to know firsthand what was going on out there.
Right. So, it's crazy you say that too, because I'm going to tell you who shared that with you. Eminem said the same thing. The only record his mother would let work for him was the cassette of He's the DJ, I'm the Rapper.
That's correct.
He said that. Terrell Davis said that. Shannon Sharp said that. Like
it was kind of like clean music, Like
it was clean. It wasn't kind of. It was very clean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was very clean. Wasn't nothing aggressive about nothing that Jazzy Jeff Fresh Prince did. It was feel good music. right?
Yeah.
So it was an alternative. Although in that era, it wasn't really aggressive, violent music at all anyway. Because you had the likes of Run DMC, you had Public Enemy, you had Heavy D. Like it wasn't nothing like that was violent. It was braggadocious. It was aggressive, and they cursed. That was the difference. Will didn't curse on his records.
Yeah.
Where other artists did curse. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the most aggression was Public Enemy at that point.
Yeah.
You know?
So what was it like from a security point of view to be with them in those stages? Did you have to fend off mostly girls? Was there violence coming at them? What was that like?
Well, you gotta think about fandom can hurt you. Even love. Because you gotta think about you, right? Think about you, right? If you go outside right now, 30 people, we love you, and start pulling, they can hurt you.
For sure.
They can hurt you. They can hurt you. They can hurt you. It's not even a question about it. So you have to do it with the mindset of it's love, and they want to love on them, but they can't love that aggressive. So you have to have crowd control. So yes, it was always aggressive, but it was aggressive love.
I understand. I go through that all the time. I go through
manage it.
Yeah, I go through people,
of course you do.
Like trying to give me aggressive love all the time. Like, I love you, Daryl. So I might need to get Charlie Mack to come help me. Exactly, for sure. So it's always been with me. I always understood that it wasn't nothing negative. And the thing about it is what's incredible that people don't know is the aggression that we were met with they called them the Cosby Kids of rap. We met and overcame every piece of aggression that ever happened. We had no L's on our jacket. None. And see, that's
we were met with it a few times.
And that's what I want to ask you, right? That's what I want to ask you, because I know back then, in the streets, it was like Big Daddy Kane, Public Enemy, Cool G Rap, like all these dudes was considered hardcore at that time. And then you guys coming out with Parents Don't Understand, I Think I Can Beat Mike Tyson and stuff like that. So were the streets like treating you guys like y'all were soft, or was it still like a mutual respect regardless of what type of music it was?
Well, yeah, think about it. See, this is the great thing about that. My persona preceded me as it related to, the streets, right? Because I came from the streets. I came from being a hustler in the streets. And so it was present. And part of the reason why they did get me was because of that persona. You know what I mean? Not that I was this villain, yes, I'm saying, but I was a no-nonsense person. And I've always been that way. I subscribe to peace, right? We're going to live in it, we're going to walk in it, or we're going to rest in it, but we're going to have peace. So I was always subscribed to that, period. I subscribe to four, I call it the table of life. Respect, honor, love, and trust. If you compromise one of them, I'm saying it's going to be a problem. So we can't compromise none of them. So I lead with that. I lead with respect, and I demand it. It's not on the table as an option for you not to do it. We're going to respect each other, or we're not going to deal with each other. Right. So again, I mean, for us, we didn't get pressed like that. We didn't get pressed. We had issues periodically, but we never got pressed ever. It was rumblings of talking, but we were never met with a face to face where somebody's pressing us. Because when I was younger, I was more aggressive in a loving way.
Well, I appreciate you telling us about your childhood. So I know you were not in West Philadelphia born and raised.
That's Will.
So when Will made the transition to Hollywood, you went with him, right?
I pretty much told him we needed to.
Oh.
Yeah, I told him we needed to because I felt like at that moment the music was becoming stagnant, right? And I said, while you have this celebrity, we need to go out. Because I've always been a lover of people. Like I told you, I was the social person in the group, in the crew. I was always the person that would talk to people, go up to people, things like that. And if you listen to the book, it'll tell you, Charlie was taking me around meeting everybody. But I told him, I said, we need to go to Los Angeles. You know what I mean? We need to go there. But I used to read, back in the day, I used to read the jackets of the albums, and you would read all the different credits on there.
Yeah.
And so between the Right On magazine and all the credits on the album, I kind of knew different people that were in the business. So I told Will we need to go, and Jeff pretty much were more of an introvert. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Will was like half and half, right? He was half and half, where Jeff was all the way pretty much introverted in the way of wanting to stay in Philadelphia. You know what I mean? And pretty much stay in his circle. For me, I wanted to go abroad, and I felt like we need to go out. I call it the presidential campaign. kiss the babies, hug the women. So I always felt like we needed to kind of build relationships. You have a level of celebrity. You've won an American Music Award. You won a Grammy. You're somebody in this world. We need to go out, yes, I'm saying, and kind of, parlay this, into relationship.
Yeah.
Right. So I convinced them to go. We had a thing that we used to do all the time. We had a certain way we would move. We would get to LA. We go rent a Mercedes Benz from this African guy named Kwabna. Then we go to, if you ever heard of, Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles.
Yeah.
We would go to Roscoe's and then we would go over to Arsenio Hall show. It was religiously we would do it. So there's one particular day we fly to LA and Kwabna says, heard Michael Jackson's going to be at Arsenio. It was like, what? I was like, well, we got to go. He's like, Posse Deep. So as we did, and so Arsenio was directly across the street from Roscoe's. We go to Roscoe's, go over there, and we go in the audience. We sit in the audience. I look over to the side, and I see Benny Medina standing over in the corner. I'm like, well, that's Benny Medina. He's like, who? I said, it's Benny Medina. He's like, who? I was like, don't worry about it. I thought very bad. So I go over to him. I say, how you feeling? I say, my name is Charlie Mack. I said, I work with the Fresh Prince. He said, oh, that's the guy I be talking about. He stole his mother's car. He's like, yeah. He's like, what y'all doing out here? I said, we're looking to do some TV. Why I say that? I don't know why I said that. He was like, what? He wants to do television? I said, yeah. He said, I got an idea. He comes over, meet Will. 6 weeks later, the pilot for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Well, I have to tell you my Will Smith story. Mm-hmm. So when I was in high school, I went to Los Angeles on just a trip with my brother, and we were at Mann's Chinese Theater, and they were handing out tickets to shows. Yep. And they were like, do you want to go see this, be in the studio audience for this, that, the other thing? And so the guy comes up to us and we're like, well, what shows do you have? And he said, he's looking through his clipboard and he says, there's it's the first season they're shooting this. It's called The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And we were like, wow. The Fresh Prince is from Philadelphia? And he was like, no, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And then we were like, well, who's in it? And they said, Will Smith. And we're like, it must be a different Will Smith because the Fresh Prince is from Philadelphia. We're like, all right, we'll go and see.
Well, they probably said the Fresh Prince because at that point they wasn't calling him Will Smith. So probably the Fresh Prince. Probably. They probably said the Fresh Prince, yeah.
So we go
you wouldn't know Will Smith at that point. You would know the Fresh Prince.
I knew his music.
Right, that's why I said you knew the Fresh Prince. You didn't know Will Smith.
So we go to the studio audience and we're sitting there and I remember the actor who played Uncle Phil came out. We're like, all right, well, at least maybe he's black, so maybe we're on the right track. You know what I mean? Like, we had no idea. And then they start the thing, and then Will Smith comes out, who, this was before Facebook, before Instagram. We were like, oh, we recognize him, but we didn't have a whole lot of So this was the first season they were shooting.
That was 89.
Yeah, I must have been. And Will was so funny. But he did not remember his line. He remembered his lines, but he kept adding. Like he wouldn't.
He remembered everybody's lines. He remembered the whole script.
But he was adding. They kept yelling at him.
Ad-libbing.
He wasn't moving where he needed to move, or he would like look and then go to there and then say his. And they were like, or he would like say the line and be like, "Know what I mean?" Da, 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 like add on to it.
Yes.
And they kept saying, "Will," and like. So he would turn around to the audience and be like, I'm so sorry, y'all. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. This is my first TV show. It was hilarious. Mm. But what he was doing was actually funnier than what they had written for him. Yeah. And then at the end of it, we were there for a long time. It took a long time
to get through taping.
But he stood at the door and shook everybody's hand. There was like 40 of us. Yep. Shook everybody's hand. Most people did not know who he was. My brother and I knew who he was from Philadelphia. And I was wearing a Penn sweatshirt. Wow. And he saw me, and I'm 5'1" on a good day.
Oh, wow.
So he saw me and he was like, yo, are you from Philly? And he like gave me this big hug. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah. And we like had this great conversation.
Did you get a picture?
No.
Oh.
This is how unprepared we were. And we were like, well, it's Will Smith, but like, probably nobody's going to watch this TV show.
Right, for sure.
So had I been thinking of it, we would have gotten a picture. I could have had my picture with Will Smith from the first season of But he was so nice and so funny and so tall.
Gracious. Yeah, very gracious. Yeah.
Well, my story is not as good as hers, but I only have one story that I know you're going to be able to relate to. You remember that record store called Sound of Upper Darby?
Yep.
That was on 69th Street?
Yep.
I'm walking out of Sound of Upper Darby. I have my little cassette tape that, as a matter of fact, I just met Tap Money, and Tap Money gave me one of his mixtapes. So I'm walking out of the store, and I see this blue Corvette driving down the street going towards the bridge. Or towards the train station or whatever that is. And he was banging Public Enemy #1. And I swear I felt that beat in my chest.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he had the Alpine.
My God.
He had the system. He had the system in there. He did. It was rumbling.
Bruh.
We always had the loud system.
It felt like the daggone ground was shaking when he was driving past. And I remember saying like, yo, is that the Fresh Prince? And I recognized his haircut. So I knew it was him, and he just blew by. I didn't get a chance to get close. I didn't get a chance to say anything, but I do remember that moment because that was a really, really crazy moment. That system was crazy.
Well, that was 89.
Probably.
89.
Yeah.
89, yeah.
So
88.
You remember the Corvette that he had?
Yeah.
That joint was crazy.
Yeah, that was his baby. That was like one of the first things he bought with his money. That was his baby.
That thing was quaking. So when he was doing the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you were still active, like doing things with them out there?
I stayed in Philadelphia. I still would work when they did the concerts.
Okay.
But I didn't work on the Fresh Prince. You know what I mean? I stayed here and I started working with Mudrick Teller.
Okay. And what was that? What job was that?
Mudrick was an Olympic gold medalist. He won the gold medal in 85. He fought Chavez for the championship.
Okay.
So he's a welterweight champ. You know what I mean? So I started working with him here because when Will went to go do the show, I had time available. So like I said, I started working with him. And of course, around that time, 88, 89, I discovered Boys II Men. Me and Nate grew up together. Me and Nate,
I read that story online. I wasn't sure if it was true, but
yeah. So me and Nate grew up together. I know Nate since he was 3 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I've known him since he was 3. Yeah. And so I was working with Boys II Men and working with Mildred around that time. The early years of the Fresh Prince, that's what I was working with. Those two guys. Well, the group and guy. That was pretty much taking it took a large, at least half of because I moved to LA in 97. I started working with Will full time in 97. So from like 90 to like 97, I was working with Boys II Men and Mudrick Teller.
Well, you introduced me to that new movie that he had with Martin, the Bad Boys movie. Mm-hmm. And when you sit there and you watch the movie, do you actually look at him like he's this big blockbuster star, or is it that little homie that you have from the neighborhood?
Yeah, he's still. What I recognize is that for a long time, it took me a minute to really, really grasp the magnitude of who he was, because I don't see him that way. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
He's Will to me, but I do understand who he is. Right? If that makes sense. It's hard for me to grasp it, but I understand who he is in the world. He's an international star. Wherever we go, it's pandemonium, especially internationally. So that's like, when then people go from, like, I knew what that was when Dave Chappelle said, my friends started acting different with me. See, we didn't do that with Will.
Right.
The way I talked to him yesterday, I talked to him today. Period. We bust on each other. We talk. He practical joker. We do that stuff. Again, people say, how is he in real life? He's really the way you see him, but he's older now. So he's a little bit more, calmer, you know what I mean? But still his personality is still his personality. He's still the same. What you see is what you get. That's who he is, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't see him in the way people see him, but I do understand and appreciate his growth in this business.
So what about your growth? How did you start developing or decide who you wanted to work with to promote the concerts and all of that? What do you look for in somebody before you agree to work with them?
Character is always character. It's always that, are you a good person? I don't work with nobody. I don't feel like, I'm saying, like, if I work with you all, if I don't wish the very best for you and that you're able to feed and clothe and take care of your family, then we don't need to be together. Because it ain't just money for me. Mm-hmm. Right? We're taking a journey together. We're taking a journey. So for me, I have to be concerned with your well-being first and foremost. Are you good? How's things at home? How's the husband? How's the wife? How the kids? So for me, it's really that. The work is really a byproduct of me investing into you. And to you, I invest into you. And every brother ain't your brother and every sister don't love you. That's the motto that I live by.
Mama, listen. Yeah. One thing I can tell you is it's the truth. And I'm smiling as he's talking because it took me years to be able to get this guy to have a conversation with me.
Yeah, because I ain't for everybody.
I know.
I'm boutique. I ain't talking to Walmart. I ain't for everybody. Everybody ain't for me. And I get ridiculed about that a lot, but I don't choose it. I'm saying the creator chooses it for me. You know what I mean? But I'm definitely listening and checking out your character. Are you a good person? Because you can make money, but I'm saying, do you want to make money with a fool? Do you want to make money with a person that's not good, that don't wish well for people?
Right.
That's my character. So we got to be aligned in that way. And if we don't align, this wasn't for me. That's all. It don't matter what it is.
When Melissa asked me how we got connected, I told her about like the long story, and she was like, "What does he see in you?"
You know what?
You did not say that.
You don't remember when you was like, "What did he see in you?"
You know what I see? I'll tell you what I see. I see in him as tenacity. I see in him no quit. I see in him visionary. I see him as a go-getter. I see him as a person I'm talking about that's not asking nobody for nothing. He's going to kick down that door. He's going to have what he wants. So how am I going to be a sucker and not stand in support of that?
I definitely appreciate that.
No,
I only saw his designs and I was like, you made this?
Yeah, for me, the designs are really a byproduct. It's really an internal person. I gotta connect with your character. I don't care if you could be Gucci. You could be Louis Vuitton. I don't care nothing about that. What I care about, are you a solid person? Are you stand up? Because that don't matter to me. Yes, I'm saying, again, there's some evil people out here do some things that are looked at as admirable. I don't look at it that way, but people do.
Wow.
So no, it's character for me.
Well, I appreciate you giving me the love like that, because I definitely stalked you, Doug.
I didn't give you anything. You earned everything.
Well, I saw you at that celebrity basketball game first. That's the first time that I met you.
Yep, in Delaware.
Yep, and then after I met you in Delaware, that was years ago too.
Yeah.
And then I saw you at the celebrity boxing match. Remember that? When I was with P-Hop? So I saw you there. And then I just kept seeing you here and there. And then I remember connecting with you. I told you about our Neiman Marcus launch. You kind of looked at me like, yeah, all right. And then it wasn't until I saw you at the studio that I was actually able to sit down with you and actually have a conversation. And it's like, you know, every time I have a conversation with you, I feel like you're educating me. You're not talking down to me, and you don't like portray yourself to be up here. You're kind of like showing me the way to go. And I feel like every time we have a conversation, it's a learning experience. And I thank you for that.
Well, people come in your life for two reasons. They come in your life to impact it in a positive way or a negative way. And when you open your mouth, you're going to say two things. You're either going to spit life or you're going to spit death. Right? So for me, our only purpose in your life, and even I want that back, is to elevate each other. In this exchange, we got to be better. Right. We have to be better. And if we're not, yes, I'm saying we've done each other a disservice. So if I don't have that for you, then there's no need. Why are we here?
Well, I think the other thing that's so admirable when we're talking about Will Smith or Jeff or anybody who's not from Los Angeles, like you all broke into that system, you know, like we're from Philadelphia, like we're not from New York or Los Angeles. So that's even more admirable, I think, the way you all carried yourself into those situations and made the most of them. And now
we call ourselves the Too Damn Hype Posse. Too Damn Hype. That's our crew.
Right.
And so that's a mentality, you know what I mean? So it's a mentality that we live by, right? We live by make it better, make people's lives better, pour into them at the most positive level that you could pour into. And again, if you can't do that, I'm saying then again, you're doing yourself the biggest disservice. You're really not giving the world everything that you can be. And so that's really what the objective is. So
you have your own podcast now. Why did you decide to launch a podcast?
The John with Uncle O and Charlie Mack. Why I decided to launch my own podcast was, as people always look at my life now on social media and they're intrigued by it, but that's really a drop of water in the ocean compared to how I really, really like get down. And I've had people ask me, you should do this and you should do that. You should do it. And so, like I told you, I'm the ultimate fan with the ultimate access. I get a chance to see and experience some cool things. I'm like, how about if I put a camera here? How about if I have a conversation with this person and I have a conversation with them in a way that you like, you know, the generic kind of like, you know, media person going to ask, like if somebody go on a promo tour for their film or their television show or their music, they're going to interview with maybe 10 people. They're going to ask the same 10 questions. For me, I know where all the bodies are lead. So I can ask a different question, and it's compelling to people because people are newsy. They want to know. Right. So I can ask a question and the person's comfortable with me enough. Like Russell said, Charlie's a safe space. I'll tell him whatever. You understand what I'm saying? And it really is that. You know what I mean? I've made it where the grace of God that gave me the wherewithal to put myself in positions where I make people feel comfortable. They trust me. I'm trustworthy in that way. And so, yeah, it's the reason why I did it. I feel like I could bring something different. I feel like I can do Breakfast Club meets Barbara Waters, where Barbara Waters used to do the Barbara Waters special. I can hang out with you for the full day and create these moments, these real cool moments that the public will enjoy.
What made you connect? What made you connect with Uncle O? I remember him from Power 99.
Uncle O, the same thing, the same attributes that I said about you. Mm-hmm. Authentic, real, you know what I mean? Tenacity, don't cut no corners, work really hard, an asset. He's an asset to me, I'm an asset to him.
Right.
That's how we build. Those are materials how you build. That's the foundation. The same thing as you.
I've definitely seen a couple previews that you posted on Instagram, and I'm definitely a fan of the show already. I'm trying to get up on there too, baby.
No, you ain't gotta try. You ain't gotta try. We're gonna hang out with you. We're gonna hang out with you. We're gonna come into the bungee world.
No doubt.
We're gonna hang out for sure. No question about it. We definitely gonna do it because again, this show right here is Ray to President of the United States, like literally. We're going to talk to everybody. We're going to talk to the community. We're going to talk to law enforcement. We're going to talk to city government. We're going to talk to entertainment. We're going to talk to sports. We're going to talk to everybody. Everybody got a story.
Well, Melissa,
everybody got a story.
Melissa and I, we were talking about you, and we basically felt like you're the unauthorized mayor of Philadelphia. Would you like to tell us like how you got to that point? Like how are you connected with all these different people? And I already know, since you had already told us how you build relationships, but like, how is it that you're known all in the city of Philadelphia and everywhere beyond? But like, what did you do to be able to get to that point? And this is just some advice for the people that are watching.
Yeah, once again, respecting my boundaries, but being present and being an asset, right? And nurturing relationship. Your success is based on your relationships. Your network is your net worth. So for me, I always understood that. So it really was me not standing at a distance, but not being overbearing, but being an asset. And when I have something to say, it feels like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. I want to talk to him some more. So I've always just really done great with nurturing relationship.
Is that how you got to the point where you were able to do like placement in movies? Because I know we talked about that before as well. Like, how did you get to that point, and what made you even get interested in even doing things like that?
Again, it's relationship, all relationships. I talk to so many people, probably a percent is what people see, but it probably wound up being 5 people that I actually align myself with, but I probably talk to 100 people in the course of that. Right. And again, I don't choose it. The universe aligns us, right? Through conversation, through us spending time together, through me seeing your character, you seeing my character. So from that, a few of these brands that align with my spirit, me as a person. I happen to talk to the CEO of the company, much like yourself, you know what I'm saying? And I see something in them that seems authentic, you know what I mean? And I feel like it would be criminal that I have an avenue or a pathway that could lead to your brand being elevated. Right. And I stand in the way of that just because. You know what I mean? So there's a few brands that I've aligned myself with. My biggest placements to date, and y'all may not know, I introduced the Chrysler, the Crossfire, and the 300 to the business. So I met with this gentleman named BJ Burtwell. They did a deal in Vegas with Celine Dion. They paid her $5 million. That campaign went topsy-turvy. It didn't go well for him. My friend Cliff Love, who used to dance for Houdini, brought BJ to meet with me. When he brought me the prototype of the Crossfire and the 300, when I seen it, I was like, wow, I was blown away because it was a Chrysler. Historically, they would market Chryslers to 60 years old and up. This was a young, cool, sleek, hip 2 cars that they had, designs they had. And I was like, I had friends in the entertainment world, they call set designers. And so I would talk to the set designer about and show them the prototype. They was like, wow, Charlie, that's really cool. So my first placement was the Lexani rims. The biggest placement I had on it to date was the spinning rims on Soul Plane. Right. That's my placement, right? And then from there, I hooked up with BJ Burtwell and I put the Crossfire, I put the 300 in Mary J. Blige video. I put the Crossfire in Lloyd Banks' video, 50 Cent video, and Jay-Z's Get Off the Dirt Off His Shoulder. I put that in all those videos, and it became the number one selling car from 2003 to about 2008.
Wow.
The 300. So I did that. And then from there, I met the owner of, when we did Empire, the black and gold earphones, I met that guy, and I put those earphones on the cast of Empire. So the black and gold, because that was their colors, black and gold. It just so happened that the man made those earphones at the time, and I felt like it was a perfect marriage for that. They would have those type of earphones on it. So I called my man, again, the art director, and told him I told the guy, the owner, I said, you need to send me about 12 pair. Because whenever you do placement, you guys send multiple pairs in case one, so you might want to put some on Will. I want to put, you know, one of the, number 26 jerseys you got. If you were doing on a TV show, they probably have you send them about 6 to 8 of those jerseys. One, if they shoot it, yes, I'm saying, and it tears, or if they got to come back and shoot it again as a flashback, they need to have multiples in their grasp before they actually going to utilize it.
Right.
You know what I mean? In case anything go wrong, they got to back up to it. So it just, again, relationships that I've nurtured over the years, and I've done great with that. You know what I mean? To the point where I delivered on the expectation and exceeded it. Because Lexani Rims was traditionally marketed to the Mexican community. He wanted to crack the hip hop community because hip hop dictates to the world.
Right.
Period. We set the tone. And when he met with me, it hadn't been evolved like it got to. Then it got hip and it got slick, and then he came with the spinner, and I was like, oh, we're gonna kill this. So Lexani Rims was a client of mine. Chrysler was a client of mine, and then I introduced the Escalade. I put the Escalade in T.I.'s video. Why you want to do that? So when we released ATL, I produced ATL as well. So we had a number one movie and a number one album, and I put I put 3 or 4 Escalades in his video. That's the first time you had seen it in his video. That was my placement.
See, I think that's crazy because we don't even realize how much behind the scenes stuff that you're doing.
Oh yeah.
When you talk about Empire, I know that you were affiliated with one of the actors there. You're doing
Hakeem.
movie. Yeah, it's like a lot of things that you're doing. And, you know, people just don't even realize that you even have your hands in that stuff, man. It's amazing.
Because you know why? Because it's never about you. It's about the service of you.
Right.
Right. So it ain't about me. I'm saying we're talking about it, and y'all kind of like, ask me questions. So I'm just giving you context on how I got from A to where I'm at right now. It's been a journey, but it's been a beautiful, trying journey for me.
Well, I want to thank you for everything that you've done for Daryl and the connections that you've made, and even just being a model for wearing all the Bungie stuff that you've worn. Because people look at Bungie's Instagram and they're like, "Oh, I want what Charlie Mack's wearing."
Oh,
so
I'm a 6'7" big model. I'm the big model he got. I'm the biggest model he got. You know what I mean?
Well, your support of Bungie.
He come with fire. He come with fire though. If it wasn't fire, I couldn't put it on. I ain't gonna lie to you. So he know his stuff is hot. I'm not gonna put enough on whack. I'm not doing it. I love you, but
you are though, sir. You've been a tremendous asset to the company and to Daryl, and it makes me so happy in my heart to see somebody like you love what Daryl does and see him as the person that I see him as too. So thank you for doing that.
Appreciate and love what he does.
And then, so I have to ask you, last question, I think. If we got in your car right now, what are we hearing? What music are you listening to right now?
Oh, the groove. Everything on the groove. It's serious radio. I don't listen to nothing else but the groove. Period. The thing about it is, you talk about disco, I can't even get off of one song and go to another channel because they play, like whoever the program director is, I gotta meet him. He is an angel of my life. Like literally they would play 50 songs back to 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 back. I'm talking about all hits that I love. You know what I mean? From my era, from the 70s, 80s, and the 90s, I'm talking about back to back to back. And that's more 70s, 80s. And literally it's like hit after hit after hit. You can't change the channel. So the groove, you'll hear the groove. Whatever's on the groove, that's what you're going to hear.
I'm going to have to check that out. I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, before we go, I need you to tell everyone where they can find you at, on social media and what to look for that you have.
At Charlie Mack First Out on everything.
Say that one more time. At
Charlie Mack First Out on everything.
All right. And when is your podcast going to debut?
Well, you know what? It's incredible. We got and I'll share this with y'all and your viewers and supporters, that we got our first official offering of a deal today. Mm-hmm. And so this company, they pretty much manage 1,800 podcasts.
Wow.
So they like the gurus in that space. And so they wanted us to back up for 45 days so they could actually get a set that we actually get the algorithms up and just make sure that people know and anticipate it and viewing it. So we're backing up. We were supposed to release yet on the 31st because we got enough. So the way we're doing it is we're teasing 3 weeks, drop the episode the final day of the month. So we got enough episodes right now in the can to do up to about 6 months. But we're going to push back 45 days to allow them. I believe whenever you bring somebody in your life to bring you some assets, then let them do what you brought them in to do. And so I'm listening intently. They tell me to stand here because I asked them. I said I got 175,000 followers on IG, right? I'm saying, what am I doing? Because I believe at this point I probably should be about 350, right? So it's something that I'm not doing. It's something that I am doing because I'm putting up content constantly, but I don't know whether am I doing whatever it is that I'm not doing. I asked her to review it, tell me what I need to do, and I said, come back to me and tell me, give me the marching orders, and I'm gonna listen to what she says. $175,000 ain't nothing to kind of bat your eyes at, but again, I know for what it is that I do and my place in the world, I think it should be around 350, yes, I'm saying, or more. So I'm saying to you, I'm looking for her to give me direction on how to move. And right now, so she asked us to step back for 45 days, and I'm doing just that. So anybody that's anticipating it's going to be 45 days before you actually see it, you'll see more teasers and more promo up, and I'll get more promo. I have a lot. We have a lot of stuff cataloged that I have that I'll just keep on promoting. And I'll also do, so our episodes aren't called episodes. Our show is called The Joint, and in Philadelphia, joint means everything. So our episodes it's not called episodes, it's called the first joint, the second joint, the third joint, the fourth. So the first one that we're going to see vision-wise is going to be the intro joint. So we're going to do the John with Uncle O and Charlie Mack intro party. This is coming on, talking to everybody about it, introducing our teammates, because the different people want to be calling it, because the people always say you got to have a great team. So ours are called our teammates. So we have the likes of myself, Uncle O, our fitness guru, Ty Nicole, our sports analyst, Young Nee, and then we have our homeboys, A-Town and Keemy Keen. We're going to bring on. You know how Howard Stern has Beetlejuice? I got two. He got one, I got two. Two homeboys. A-Town and Keemy Keen.
Well, congratulations. That's great to be part of that podcast network. Congratulations.
Well, I appreciate you beyond words. And we hope that the deal that they offered is something that is respectful. Because again, I'm saying, I don't want to get out here, I'm saying, and not feel like I'm covered and not feel like I'm protected and not feel like I'm appreciated. Because we're going to work hard. We're going to work really hard at bringing you the best quality and just bringing what we have to bring to the table. I think we got something unique to bring to the table, and I'm excited about people seeing it, and taking this journey with us.